Hey, yo, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Herders. My name is Rich.
And I'm Lil Nicky.
And today's episode is our discussion episode. I believe, Nick,
How does he talk in that movie? He's like, I'm Lil Nicky.
I believe, Nick, you got something to talk about today? You got a discussion you wanted to bring up?
Oh, that's right, yeah. All right, so, yeah, we have this week's discussion. Every week we have a discussion. Sometimes it's whatever. Yeah. But something has been going on in Hollywood this past week. It's been a whole big controversy that we'll talk a little bit about. But the whole point is really a thought that I had based off of what's been going on. Okay. So there's a movie coming out later this year, Birth of a Nation. Mm-hmm. Birth of the Nation? What the hell is it called? Birth of whatever the other one is the classic. Like, there's the film that's kind of racist.
D.B. Griffith one that's like super racist.
Super racist movie. But anyway, and it's supposed to be amazing. We've talked about it, I think, in the past. It sold for the most money ever for a movie out of Sundance to a studio.
Yeah,
it's
like The Birth of a Nation.
The Birth of
a Nation.
A Nation. Directed by Nate Parker, who was an actor. I think this is like his first movie. But it's supposed to be amazing. It's like the Oscar frontrunner, especially coming off of last year with the Oscars So White thing. Mm-hmm. And this is a movie made by a black man and starring black people. And
he is
everything about it.
He is both in it and directed.
Right, yeah. And co-writer of it too. And the producer. And he did everything.
Tyler Perry.
Right. So this movie's supposed to be very, very good. It's supposed to be very powerful. It's supposed to win all the Oscars. Then something came up in the past week, without getting into all the details because I don't want to ruin any of the facts. But what it boils down to, essentially, apparently in college, him and the co-writer of this movie were accused of rape by a woman. It was kind of kept hush-hush, swept under the rug. The woman then killed herself because it wasn't taken serious and she was potentially raped by these two men. And this has gotten out into the light that it happened, that she'd killed herself. Statements were issued by Nate Parker and the other man whose name I don't have here, that sort of kind of sounded like confessions of guilt, specifically from the other guy. It's a very bad situation. Specifically, a life was lost. But then I saw a post about it. I mean, there's been a lot of stories written about it, and I saw a post from a friend on Facebook that said that this whole thing has made them not want to see the movie, and it's disgusting if it wins Oscars. And then it got me thinking, first of all, how messy that's going to get come Oscar campaign season. But then that specific statement made me think, should all of this even factor into our perception of this movie? And should it at all actually factor into whether or not this movie wins awards? Can the two things be distanced? Should we view a piece of art in any different form of light based on the circumstances of the artist? And I'm inclined to say no. But I don't know if I don't think that we should. I think that a piece of art, whether it's a film, a painting,
Wait, so you're
music,
saying we should or shouldn't distance them?
We should distance them.
Okay.
We should not view them.
They should not have an impact on each other.
Right.
Okay.
I think that none of that should have any bearing. I mean, think about how many pieces of music we love from awful people, or paintings by awful people, or works of literature by terrible people that we know, and that stuff isn't held in most cases.
They go, wow, this is an incredible book. Also, he was a drunk asshole.
People love Jay-Z and he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
You know, like, all these things, like, should that stuff matter? Should this movie not win Oscars now, even if it is the best movie that comes out this year, because of this?
Yeah.
No, but in a lot of cases, I don't know if I actually can distance myself from it because of the knowledge that we have. It's the same thing with, like,
we've got a few cases come to mind.
Sure.
Right away to this. Roman Polanski.
Yes.
Recently, Bill Cosby. And Woody Allen, depending on how your views of that really are.
That's a messy situation.
That's a messy situation. I don't think there was, to my recollection, there's nothing illegal or anything that happened in it. It was just an odd situation.
I think for myself personally, with those three examples, I've never viewed a Roman Polanski movie any differently, and I've never
Nope.
viewed a Woody Allen movie differently. And I
Nope.
think primarily a lot of that is because when the majority of the controversy, even though I'm very well read and
You
very
weren't
well
around for
aware, I was not around for.
Sure.
And I wasn't around for a time before
Mm-hmm.
you knew any of that. For Cosby, no, I don't think I could watch an episode of Cosby and not think about it anymore.
See, that's I'm inclined to be where you are too. Of like, we need to judge these things separately. The whatever the actions of the people behind the camera are should not affect the work itself. And I'm inclined to say the same thing about Cosby. But at the same time, maybe just because it's still so fresh, I don't know where I would fall having to sitting under a wheel. But like I even see, I was watching like an episode of The Simpsons the other day, and there was like a Cosby bit on there, and that like I didn't even really think it was like, oh, like it was still funny. So I don't know.
I think that it would. See, I haven't been in a situation since the whole Cosby thing came out where I've seen an episode of Cosby Show
Sure.
on, or I've seen his stand-up, or I've read one of his books. That hasn't happened
Mm-hmm.
since I've known about that. What has happened is, we live in Orlando. I go to Disney quite frequently.
Yes.
If you ride the ride Dinosaur, the pre-show video has Phylicia Rashad, and every time it comes on, I think, that's Mrs. Huxtable. Was she raped by him? Like,
Sure.
yeah, I think every time. So
Well,
I
and at
feel
the same
like I
time,
would think that
they took the head out of Hollywood studios too.
a big issue. Yeah, you think about that. I thought about that when I knew that it was gone, and I don't think about it when I pass it now.
Yeah.
But I think if Cosby Show was on, and I mean, where are you going to find that show? Like, nobody's going to show that show anymore.
That's
But if
true.
I happen to like get the DVD and I dump in at Walmart and I'm watching season 50 of Cosby, I think I would think about it. I think it would forever ruin it. If Ghost Dad comes on, I'm thinking about it. Good thing you're a ghost, you dirty man. I don't know, but I think the worst thing about the whole Cosby situation is that was an important sitcom that now is forever ruined. And more specifically, he was a great stand-up, and I think that stuff will never be taken serious. And it also hurt that for all of the absolutely filthy, awful, disgusting things that he did. Okay.
Now, is he officially admitted to that? Like, where?
He.
Or is it still all alleged?
No, I don't believe it is alleged anymore. I think that he did decide to not fight it anymore. I'm
Okay.
almost positive of that.
Well, the last report I saw, he was like in poor health and like all this stuff.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
But it doesn't help that everything that he did was about family values.
yes.
That ruins everything that it's if Mr. Rogers was if those weren't puppets and those were kids he had his hand in. Like that's kind of
Yeah, no,
but like Roman Polanski has made crime films and dirty and bad, like
sure.
and Woody Allen.
But I mean, there's people who are like, oh, well, I'll just not, I'm boycotting all Polanski films, or I'm boycotting all Woody Allen.
See, that's
stuff like
stupid.
that. But like,
That doesn't make any
that's
sense.
never. After I knew about any of that stuff, it never affected the way I view Chinatown or Rosemary's Baby or anything like that.
No, me either. There were allegations that were proven to be untrue, or at least settled to be untrue, about Bryan Singer. If you
that's
recall, in the leading up to Days of Future Past, and it didn't hinder my excitement of that movie. Because I guess I don't... Maybe that feels slightly... My assumption of this movie, Birth of a Nation, it feels like a very personal thing, and it feels like a very personal piece of art, and I don't know if... And it is about, freedom, and you can't help but, like... It just seems very messy. I don't know if you're not going to be able to think about it. I don't know if I will be able to not think about it while watching it. I hope so. I hope that I'll be able to view it differently. But... I don't know. And the Oscar campaigning is going to get
that's going to be where it gets
so messy, because no matter what, even if this is the greatest movie that was ever made, a lot of the discussion will be this movie's only winning these awards as a response to Oscars So White.
Sure.
And now the whole thing is going to be, if this movie wins all these awards, should it have because of this awful thing that happened? And look what happens when Oscars aren't so white.
Yeah, that's...
It goes to rapist. Alleged.
Yeah. Is this how we want, our Oscars to be
It's
portrayed?
such a mess. It's such a mess.
It is.
But in general, I think that we both come on the same side of this. Should the two be viewed separately? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you always?
It's hard to do sometimes. But
it depends how personal the situation you are. It's just I only know Nate Parker from Red Tails. Terrible movie. I don't know him from anything else.
I don't know if I know Nate Parker from anything else.
He's been in some stuff. The fact that he made this apparent great, fantastic movie was very shocking to me from what I knew him from. So I don't
The
have...
Great Debaters, I saw that, I think.
Right, he's not like awful, but he's never been in anything truly amazing.
No, nothing stands out as
so like
anything I would know him from.
If I hadn't read the details of all this, a few articles about it, then I wouldn't even really think about it, I don't think. But with Bill Cosby, you grew up with Bill Cosby. You grew up with him and his sitcoms and his stand-up and his kids say the darndest things, and just all that just feels so dirty now. To me.
But in 10 years, will we be able to view that, look at that stuff, and go like, oh yeah, like,
and
remember this was a seminal show, this was a seminal sitcom, and it did a lot of important things. Oh, and by the way, will it become a footnote, just like problems with great writers and problems with great artists have become a footnote of their career? It's like, look at these incredible paintings and these incredible works of literature.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever go back to it. I think that it's just too. It's not like there. I think the magnitude of what he was doing was too large, and also another thing that when I think about the whole situation with Cosby now, that stems to my forefront, is the amount of today's comedians that I respect the hell out of, that have made jokes about him or straight up said that what he did was awful and have disowned him. And so because the comedy world has done that, it's also in my mind. These people who probably are doing this because of him have rejected his work.
Well, here's another example that's more recent. The whole Johnny Depp incident.
The Australia thing?
Well, did you see there was some other allegations of...
Right, him beating Amber Heard.
He beat Amber Heard and cut his tip of his finger and wrote some crap in all this weird stuff that I saw. Like, does that change your opinion of, Edward Scissorhands or anything else he's done? Or
no, but I think that if anything has changed my opinion of Johnny Depp, it's not necessarily that. It's just the last 5 years of his career has changed my opinion of Johnny Depp.
Sure.
I don't think I'm any less excited for an upcoming Johnny Depp movie because of that.
Okay.
I'm less excited for a Johnny Depp movie because I stopped being excited for Johnny Depp movies.
What was the last one? What was the one we liked him in? He played...
Yeah, he was good. He was good in Black Mass.
That Black Mass, that's what it was.
But he's been awful in so many.
Sure.
I just don't anticipate something from him.
We can get Mordecai, too. Maybe that's why he was
No,
mad.
we can't. It made $2.
It'll be called something else. Maybe he'll show up in Yoga Hosers.
2 rolls of quarters that he then used to hit her harder.
Wow. This got dark.
So did her eye. No,
Jesus.
it's terrible. But that whole thing, his relationship with her, he cheated on his wife with her while he was making Rum Punch or whatever the hell that movie was called.
Rum Diaries.
So it was always a bad situation.
Sure.
I don't know why we hold him in a different light. I guess it's just because, Johnny Depp is this weird esoteric guy who lives by his own code, and that was kind of the charm of him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is backwards, but I feel like in some way in the back of my head, right or wrong, it kind of seemed like their whole relationship was weird, and if there was weird stuff going on in it, it's kind of what she knew too, and she signed up. Not necessarily. I don't know.
You can't say she signed up for.
I'm not saying she signed up for that. That's kind of not what I mean. I'm not saying that she signed up to get beat. If that's really what happened, that's awful. But
she was getting involved with a weird person.
In comparison to the maybe dozens of women who were whatever by Cosby.
Sure.
That's
who were forcibly tricked and drugged and.
Right. I don't know. That's a tough one.
This became a little more about Cosby.
I'm a little bit.
But...
Yeah, I know. I'm a little bit less excited for Birth of a Nation. I'll say that.
I was never super excited about it. I just kind of knew there was that buzz going on about it.
There was all the buzz, which immediately draws your attention, especially in a year where there hasn't been much worth caring about. The first poster was incredible looking. The trailer's incredible looking, and then this.
I'm still gonna see it. I'm still gonna
for sure.
But I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Yeah.
It's always a weird kind of.
It is.
But I've always, like we've talked about, I've always tried to keep the art and the artist separate as best I can.
Yeah, and I hope that that's what can happen. If it truly is a truly great movie, it would be a shame if. And the Oscars mean less and less, it seems like.
Sure.
But in general, if it gets not the recognition, it would seem very silly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it won't. All the pre-buzz is that it is worth that though. So I don't know. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Should we view these things as two separate things? Should you view art as art itself and not as a work necessarily of the artist?
Should you be able to separate the art from the artist?
Let us know. Tweet at us. I'm at Stonks.
I'm at Rich Belson. The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official or on Facebook at facebook.com/overbeer. And you can check out the other episodes, the other segments of our Nerd Herder show at youtube.com/overbeer. And of course, every Friday on SoundCloud and iTunes, you can check out the Over a Beer podcast that Nick, Dana, and I do. It's a much more off-topic, random, and usually lighter subject matter than this today. But that will wrap things up for today. So until next time, drink up.